Sure. Hi. Good evening again to everyone. And we're here to talk about the expression of interest for 1313 Druid Hill Avenue. And we'll start off with some brief introductions before we begin the presentation. So I'll begin. My name is Tamara Woods. I'm Assistant Commissioner for Land Management in the Development Division of DHCD. We are also joined by Howard Tutman, the neighborhood development officer. We have Nick Mayer, the NDO supervisor, and Lauren Shizik. We had hoped to have here from CHAP, but she's feeling under the weather, so she's unable to join us. But we also have Matt DeSantis, who is our Director of Neighborhood Development and Outreach. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt and Howard to lead us through the presentation, and there will be ample time to answer any questions and have conversation at the end. So with that, Matt, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thanks, Tamara. Yeah, I'm hopefully we'll get through these slides in 15-ish minutes or so that we have plenty of time for Q&A. And off the bat, I apologize for being off camera. I've been having technical difficulties with my laptop. All right. So a brief agenda. We're going to go through a property and neighborhood overview, talk a little bit about our projected timeline for this EOI, and then talk about the submission requirements. So 1313 Druid Hill Avenue, it's the building itself is about 13,300 square feet. It's on a lot that's approximately 6,825 square feet, or about 0.157 acres. The site is zoned R8, which is a medium density residential zoning district that also allows for a limited variety of non-residential uses. Table 9-301 of the zoning code lists all of the permitted and conditional uses for the RA district, and then table 9-401 lists the bulk and yard requirements for the district. So a little bit about the neighborhood and the history of the property itself. 1313 Druid Hill Ave is located in Upton's Marble Hill neighborhood. And this four-level historic property is adjacent to the renovated Henry H. Garnett Park. It was built in 1870 in the Second Empire architectural style. The building was erected as the home of the friendless and played an important role in social services in West Baltimore through the late 19th and 20th centuries. The site's located within easy walking distance of many Baltimore's landmarks, including but not limited to the Maryland State Center complex, MICA, University of Baltimore, and the historic Madison Park and Bolton Hill neighborhoods. It features convenient access to the Metro subway, light rail, and several high-frequency MTA bus lines. And additionally, the city recently invested approximately $2.2 million in building stabilization. The picture on the left is the current conditions of the building, and then this one on the right, I borrowed this from the recent CHAP report. The 1313 is the old historic building on the right side, and there used to be a neighboring school on where the park currently is. I believe that 1313 was an orphanage for boys, and the girls' residence was this building, which is no longer extant. So a little bit about surrounding investment in the area. Marble Hill is a emerging neighborhood that's seen an increase in development and homeownership in recent years. City, state, and community stakeholders are partnering on a number of projects, including at 811 West Landvale Street, which is this large photo. So the historic Upton Mansion was acquired by the Afro-American newspapers and Afro charities, and will be renovated and expanded as their future headquarters. And then also on the 800 blocks of Edmondson and Harlem Avenues, which is this ribbon cutting photo. There are massive whole block renovations taking place there. And then this the bottom right corner, 1313 Division Street, the former PS 103 school site, has recently been beautifully renovated and opened as the Thurgood Marshall Amenity Center. And so a little bit about CHAP and tax credits. As Tamara mentioned, unfortunately, our colleague from CHAP wasn't able to join us tonight, but provided some info that I can go over quickly. So the property itself was recently designated as a Baltimore City landmark. So as such, all exterior work, including repairs, alterations, additions, and site work, requires review and approval by CHAP, the Commission for Historical and Architectural Preservation. Lauren Shizik there at CHAP is the very knowledgeable best point of contact. Her information is here. And can also be, we can certainly share that with any folks who are interested in follow-up. Additionally, the property is eligible for historic tax credits. So interior and exterior work may be eligible for federal, state, and local historic tax credits that either result in an income tax credit or a property tax credit. The key thing here is that all work must be pre-approved in order to be eligible. There's more information about the CHAP tax credit online, and Lauren again is an excellent resource and is happy to guide folks through the tax credit opportunities. I'm going to hand it over to Howard here to run through our draft timeline for this expression of interest.
Thank you, Matt. Before I get into the timeline, I just want to give you some background on the expression of interest, also known as the EOI. The EOI is one of the tools in our toolbox that we use to market and sell large city-owned properties. We are seeking the expression of interest from qualified development teams to redevelop 1313 Druid Hill Avenue. It is intended that the expression of interest will serve as a basis of establishing a list of interested and qualified development teams, and to be invited to respond to this EOI. However, DHCD, in its sole discretion, reserves the right to request additional information from respondents. Usually, this expression of interest could end up in an RFP. However, through our discretion, the agency's discretion, that is not mandatory. It could be not to issue an RFP, to issue an RFP at a later date, or to enter directly into an exclusive negotiating privilege with a qualified respondent. DHCD will review and evaluate each submission, and the evaluation will be based on information submitted and any related information that staff may discover in analyzing and verifying information submitted in your submission. And again, based on this information, DHCD will determine whether or not to issue an RFP or enter into a direct ENP, exclusive negotiation privilege, with a qualified respondent. And this information is on our website. Now, moving to the timeline, we launched the expression of interest Tuesday, August 27th. We had the site inspection today, September 4th. We have the conference this evening. The deadline is Monday, September 30th at 11:59 p.m. The neighborhood development officer will review went by Wednesday, October 2nd. And again, the asterisk denotes that these are projected dates. Projected dates, they can change. They can change. The review panel will be activated the week of October 2nd. Projected to have the first review panel meeting and possible interview of respondents the week of October 7th. Community presentation the week of October 14th. The community presentation is when the finalists that have gone through the initial threshold of expression of interest will get the opportunity to share their development plan with the Marble Hill and Upton community. And again, that's projected the week of October 14th. There will be a first review panel meeting. And then by the end of October, projected, we are to have the recommendation, if there is a recommendation, but a recommendation to the assistant commissioner. That is the projected timeline.
Perfect. Thanks, Howard.
Thank you.
So I'm going to cover briefly the submission requirements, which are going to consist of the following things: an overall letter of interest, the name, title, phone number, and email address of a point of contact for each development team, a brief narrative highlighting each team's qualifications and/or capabilities, including recent relevant experience. The city is seeking responses here from interested parties with experience in completing development similar to that required for the proposed development. So we expect names, title, company affiliation, experience details of each of the members of each development team. A brief narrative describing the proposed development project in as much detail as possible. General descriptions of potential uses are also acceptable. And identification of potential funding sources. Detailed financing information is certainly desirable, but not strictly necessary. Please identify possible public and private financing sources that the team has on hand or would be pursuing for the project. And then, as Howard mentioned, submissions must be submitted by Monday, September 30th, 11:59 p.m. We won't be accepting any submissions after this time. Each of the submissions are going to be submitted electronically, and incomplete submissions won't be processed. Brief, and Howard also went over this post-selection. DHCD does reserve the right to award directly from the COI, as Howard described. And then lastly, that's it. Questions. We did field 2 questions today at the site inspection that I have some answers to that I'll start off with. First question was regarding who did the stabilization work. The answer to that question is the city contracted with Triunfo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Triunfo Builders. They completed that approximately $2.2 million worth of stabilization work for the building. There was also a question about maximum permitted height, and if an additional floor or floors could be added. So the property being zoned R8, the R8 district for this property has a 45-foot maximum height limit. The building currently is about 50 feet from sidewalk to the roof. So I think applicants should expect that any proposals that included adding floors to the building, the assumption should be that would require a height variance. But the zoning office can be engaged to provide a more detailed response. All right. And I see a question in the chat. If there will be another site visit. I can say that at this point in time, we don't have a second site visit scheduled. Howard or Tamara, do you want to add anything to that?
Sure. So I think we can schedule another one for a few weeks out. Maybe we could try for something mid September, if that would work for people.
And I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see each other.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, but we can definitely arrange that, and once we arrange a second site visit, we'll make sure to get that posted.
Great. Thanks, Mary. I got there was a question. It was sent directly to me, but my presumption is that this is it's for the group. Question is if CHAP has indicated any requirement to restore the roof or cornice, and if so, in the front or completely wrapped around. Not being a member of CHAP, I would be comfortable and confident saying that CHAP would not have an expectation that any rehab of the building attempts to recreate the former fifth floor cornice and mansard. However, as I mentioned in the presentation, since the building is a local historic landmark, CHAP will have to review any proposed exterior changes to the building or to the site. But no, I don't think that they would have a strict requirement to try and recreate what was on the building before.
Hi, this is Solomon. Yes, I'm interested for a second visit. I didn't get a chance to visit today, so that would be very important. And are there pictures you can share with us until that day so that it will help us with development of the proposal?
Yes, thank you, Solomon, for the question and your interest. We don't have any professional interior photos of the building, but we can follow up with our communications team to see if we can get somebody in there and take some photos.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Matt, there's another question in the chat. The question is, does the city sell the building to the developer? And if so, how much are they selling it for? I don't know, Tamara, you want to chime in on this, please?
Sure. So yes, eventually we would sell to the developer. Typically, we establish a price through doing multiple appraisals first to establish the value. We do 2 appraisals to establish the value. And of course, any selected developer with any of our projects, they put in an offer price, and we begin a negotiation based on the established value with what a developer would seek to pay for. Oftentimes, the final sales price is a negotiation because developers have different funding sources, and they, have a different valuation method that they may use. So it really is particular to that deal. But we start with a value based on appraisals and go from there. Any other questions? Okay.
So gotta be more
questions in the chat.
This feels too easy.
Yeah. So no, thank you all so much, and we are available. If there are any questions that you think of after tonight, we're happy to do that, and we will work to get some professional pictures up and available to you all, and schedule the second walkthrough. So you can, feel free. And even those that were able to make the walkthrough today, it might be helpful for you to walk through a second time. So I think we're happy to do that. So thank you all for coming, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Samara. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.